Mailadres voor de sjoeren. Yeah. It might be possible that they can work with nearby. It's 10 minutes.
Okay, with pleasure. We'd love to see you.
Ja.
We'd love to see you.
Je kan langer slapen, het kost op 10 uur.
Yeah, pleasure. If anyone would like, we have some Mare Mekomot. I don't know if anyone.
Heb je nog koffie? Of, nou, laat maar, ik hoef ook niet. Ben, heb jij nog koffie? Neem eens gewoon een kopje.
לא יעבוד זאת אומרת שזמן מאוד טוב, לא תהיה שם הבעיה.
Er is nog dit kopje.
Nou, anders doe je maar even samen. Doe je maar even staan.
Ja, dat is de issues.
Ben, kijk eens.
Ja, dat zou ik. Ik heb niet andersom zeggen. Je kan zetten.
לא, אני רציני.
אני מבין.
לא שמע איתך.
Is het zelfs nog in staat van wijs? Wij zullen alleen maar.
Oké, heren.
Ja, inderdaad. Dat is nooit hetzelfde. Dat is niet
Moet je even aan Daan vragen.
Okay. Good morning, everybody.
We have just an animated discussion.
Great. No, you listen. You had in between. You have shiurim in between. You have to take a break for a few minutes. It's normal. It's okay. The discussion we're going to speak today, it's Parashat HaShavua, and it's the question, it's a very special parashiot we're going through now. Sefer Bereshit, it's amazing book, amazing Sefer Bereshit. And of course, the story of Yosef is one of the fascinating stories we have in the Jewish history. The whole thing of Yosef, that starts Parashat Vayeshev, and Miketz, Wajigash, Vayechi. It's 4 weeks that we're going through the story of Yosef HaTzadik and with his brothers, and it's a very, very interesting situation. And the question is, did Yosef forgive his brothers or not? Did Yosef forgive his brothers for what they did to him? Oh, he didn't forgive.
I thought
He did?
so.
Why, what is...
Arranged this whole story.
Hashem arranged it all. So you're absolutely right. But the question is...
You said he told his brothers, Hashem sent me in advance.
That is true. That is true. But that means that he forgive them, or he understood that whatever Hashem is doing is for good.
Yeah.
It's the same. So we're going to look now about this discussion. We're going to see that some Mefarshim say that this is same, and some Mefarshim look at it as sometimes you are a human being. We're going to bring two possibilities.
He's called HaTzadik.
Yosef HaTzadik, that is true.
So that means more than that means maybe he's forgiving person.
That is true, but at the end of the day, we're all humans. And sometimes you could say, let's put everything aside, and we all know that it's all from Hashem, but I'm still very hurt. I mean, sometimes you are human, and Yosef was also human, so what is the right balance over here and what happened over here?
At the end of at the beginning of your life, you're
At the
end of your life, you're different.
That is
But,
true.
the question is also that okay, today we take the telephone and we have my dear daddy, I'm still alive, but that was not existing at that time. But he could send messages to his father.
The message to his father.
Why didn't? Why?
That's a very good question. I have a déjà vu about myself sitting here and talking about it. I think we might had one of these discussions already before. I think it's part of the thing that he knew that if he's going to tell his father, whatever he's rolling into is not going to happen. So that's what needed to be, and everything is going to roll at the right time when his father needs to know about it. But to think about it, how much tzahar how much, yeah, he calls his father, but he's not knowing. But it's not only about that he caused it himself. It was something that was caused, and that was the outcome. But we just spoke about. You just said very nicely that everything is from Hashem, and therefore, because everything is from Hashem, so for sure He forgive them. So, about 10 years ago, it was in November 2015. There was a mashgiach kashrut. His name was Daniel Cohen in Rishon LeZion in Israel, and he was on his way to his job, and he was waiting in a bus stop in Rishon LeZion, and all of a sudden he feels someone cuddles him from the back and stabs him. Okay, we're sitting down. Why?
He
I
died.
don't know if you heard about the thing that we have in the Middle East. There are some people that would like the land. He was stabbed. It was a pigua. It was an attack. It was an attack. He got to the hospital in a very hard situation, and he straight away went into operation. It was in somewhere in his stomach. It wasn't an easy situation. But the minute the doctors opened his belly, opened whatever was needed to be fixed, what did they find? A tumor. He had a cancer, a tumor on top of the place. Okay, where he was attacked, there was a tumor.
Yeah.
And thanks to that guy, he was saved. Okay, so think about it now that this guy, this Arab guy, that he had no good intention. He had very bad intentions, okay? He's going to say, listen, I have to get a certificate, something nice from the president because I just saved someone. Do you go by the action or do you go by the cause? Do you go by the attention? What do you go by? The attention that he had, that is a very bad attention. The outcome was good. That is true. But if that's the case, but he didn't know, but if that's the case, so basically you could say if everything is from Hashem and everything is good, so you're not going to punish anyone. Because everybody, he's a shaliach from Hashem to do whatever he needs to do in the world. No one is able to harm anyone else because everyone is a shaliach to do. Why was he the one to harm? We don't know why Hashem got him to harm or anyone else that, God forbid, if someone does an accident by mistake, chas v'shalom, and something very bad happens. Of course you say everything from Hashem, but why did Hashem choose that person to be the bad man for that moment? You know what I mean? You also have to think about, so if that's the case, if everything is from Hashem, so we don't need any judges. We'll say everything is from Hashem, everything is good.
That's why people say Hashem, whatever happens.
That is true, but at the end of the day, we do have police.
Of course, it's an easy way out.
It's a very easy way out of it. So that's the question. Did this Arab that attacked Daniel?
Situation.
Yeah.
It's wonder that Nico don't say something about the Second World War.
Yeah.
Because
I was thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what they say, we are studying Torah now than before, and some say the connection.
But my father was killed in Auschwitz upon arrival because he thought when somebody is not healthy and he can't work,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
not going to be transported from Westerbork. So he had himself taken away a kidney.
Ooh.
So they brought him in the train, and upon arrival,
Yeah.
he was immediately killed.
Yeah.
Shem Yishmo. We don't understand those things. I was actually this year. I was the first time in Auschwitz. I was never in Auschwitz before this time.
Me
This
too.
year, this year.
Yes,
Is it first
together
time?
with Rabbi Katz, he
Organized the first time I went to Auschwitz. It was very.
It was
It
very,
was. Excuse me.
I don't want to go.
I'm sure you
Okay,
don't want to go.
yeah.
I'm absolutely sure. You don't wanna
Very-
go. It was very.
Moving.
I went. There was a few months ago. There was a rabbinical. There was a rabbis get together in Krakow, and they took us to Auschwitz and to Birkenau, of course. It was very, very, very straight, impressive.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it. It was very. I don't know. Think about.
I tell you what, you always see on television
Mhm.
the
Yeah, the fight.
Friday.
Yeah,
And that was very impressive. I walk
Yeah.
out.
yeah,
That sign.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
But you
was
can say that some people which changed your opinion about Kochburg.
About the Kodesh Baruch Hu?
Yeah.
No.
So there is no, so but you make a connection now about roots. So it was good, actually, the camps. I don't know why.
We can't say it was good. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Rebbe.
If you say it like that, everything that the Kojic world does is okay, like he says, then this was good. We don't understand why.
So that's what
That's one-
part of the shiur, if we get to it,
Oh, sorry.
part of the shows, when we get to it, is about, as we know, that the reason why we had Asara Arogei Malchut
Yeah.
was because the brothers didn't get a punishment. And if the brothers didn't get a punishment, 1,500 years later, they came and they said, listen, they didn't get a punishment. Now we're going to kill 10 of your top rabbis, because that's what we read anyway, the Ashkenazim.
Yeah.
Well, the Portuguese have it also, right? In Seder Avodah, after Musaf in Yom Kippur, we read. In Mincha you do it?
Tishbav.
Fish about-
Tisha B'Av.
Tisha B'Av.
Okay, Tisha B'Av also you read it in Kinot. Yeah, and so we do it in Yom Kippur and we read about them. So, and why was that? So they said because they never got a punishment. So if they were from Hashem, we have to understand the it's a very sensitive thing over here. If it's from Hashem, so leave it up. You know, everything you don't need, as we say, we don't need judges, we don't need police, we don't need nothing, because everything is from Hashem. But we do have a free will to do whatever we want. So what is the thing over here? So we can find.
Fight against it.
Yeah.
But it's Hashem, but you have to fight against.
Hashem wants us also to fight against us, as you're saying. So we're going to see two opinions over here. If you look at Mishlei, it says, Al tomar ashalma ra'a kaveh el Hashem v'oshia lach. The Mishlei brings it, and we say the Zohar explain, Pasuk ze ne'emar b'Yosef HaTzadik, שלא רק שלא שילם רעה לאחיו, אלא גמל עמהם חסד. The Zohar said that this pasuk, אל תאמר שלמה רע, קווה אל השם ויושע לך. The pasuk from Mishlei is talking about Yosef HaTzadik. The Zohar explains why. Yosef HaTzadik, not only that it didn't take linkom. How do you say? Someone nekom nikma linkom. When you do something again.
Instead,
That's the-
No, linkom nikma dam. We say it in the davening. Nikom.
Revenge.
Revenge. He did it in only revenge his brothers, but he actually supported them until the last day. When they came to Egypt, he supported them, right? So it's not only that it was that he didn't go back and punish them, but he was nice to them. Rabbi Abba היה יושב בשער העיר לוד, וראה אדם ישן על בליטת עפר שיצא מההר. The Zohar brings a story about Rabbi Abba that was sitting in the entrance, in the gate of the city of Lud, and he saw a person that is asleep on a small בליטת עפר שיצא מההר. There was a mountain, and there was a small blita, some earth, some mud that was coming out of the small curve. Yeah. התקרב, נחש להקישו. A small snake came over to attack this person, and came out some kind of a small animal and killed the snake. And the guy was sleeping. He didn't know anything what's going on. כשקם משנתו, when he woke up from his sleep, נפלה בליטת העפר והתמוטטה אל העמק. He stood up from the small thing that he was lying over it, and all of a sudden this small thing got disconnected from the mountain and fell down into a valley. Looked at it, Rabbi Abba that we said was sitting over there. שאלו רבי אבא, מה מעשיך שגרם לך הקדוש ברוך הוא שני ניסים? What was your actions that הקדוש ברוך הוא caused two miracles to happen? You were sleeping over there. There was a snake that was coming, and he didn't attack you because something killed him in the last minute. And then he woke up. As you moved, the mountain fell into the valley, and nothing happened to you. So what is? Let me know. What is your secret? אמר, לא היה אדם שעשה לי רעה ולא התפייסתי איתו. There was never a person that did anything bad, that did bad things to me, and I didn't speak it over with him and get it over. ואם לא יכלתי להתפייס עמו, if it didn't work to speak to him and to get it over, לא הייתי עולה על מיטתי עד שמחלתי לו. I didn't go to sleep. I was not able to fall asleep until I really forgive that person for what he did to me. That was what this person told Rabbi Abba. ולא עוד, אלא שהשתדלתי לעשות עמו טובות. Not only that, but that I forgive him, but I even try to be good to him and try to do good things to that person. That he was bad to me, he was mean to me, but I gave back to that person. בחר רבי אבא, גדולים מעשיך מיוסף הצדיק. Rabbi Abba cried, and he says, your maasim, your actions are even higher than Yosef HaTzadik. Why? Because Yosef HaTzadik, who did he do it to? To his brothers. It's your brothers, it's your flesh, it's your blood. So you forget it. But you did it to someone that you don't even, just someone else that is not your family. שהוא ריחם עליך ואתה מרחם לכל אדם. וראוי אתה שיעשה לך נס על נס. So Rav Ava told him, you deserve that you should have a nes over a nes, that a snake, because you're good to the people. So if you're good to people, Hashem will be good to you. If you are nice to other people, if you forgive other people, if you don't put yourself with the ego, but you put yourself a little bit aside and you forgive the people and you find excuses to understand what went in his mind to do such a thing, as we're going to see at the end of the shiur, no one is against. There's a famous sentence that says no one is against you. Everyone loves himself. Someone that is doing something bad to someone else, not because he's trying to protect his position. He likes himself. That's why he's trying to protect his surrounding. Trying to protect the area. And if you by any chance in the area, so you're affected, but it's not againstly direct you. זה לא, אומרים בעברית, אומרים את זה. זה לא שמישהו לא אוהב אותך, הוא אוהב את עצמו. It's not that he doesn't like you, he likes himself. Because he likes himself.
Here, Joseph, in the beginnings, as they would do, was not so nice to his brothers. He had a big ego, and he displays it very well. And that's actually what led the brothers to do with him. I think the whole thing is like a kind of game. He is playing with his brothers, and what we see in this parasha is the climax. And it's only because Judah shows remorse that he reveals himself, and before that, we have a long story where he actually intenses the tension until you get to the climax here.
That's right. But so basically, he's saying the way that he was doing, it was actually mean to them. That's what you mean to say?
Well, not mean, but it was his ego.
It was the ego speaking, sending him back to Eretz Israel, bring down Binyamin. That was ego. You think that was ego?
No, I mean, before he was dropped into the well.
Yes. Oh, you think over there was ego?
You were both to meet, yes, because it was the dream that revealed.
But as we know that Yosef HaTzadik was a tzaddik, so did he have there was an ego game over there?
I think in the contrast with his the relation with his brothers, because it's also said why did Jacob send his son there, because he knew there was a risk.
Yeah.
But you can change us. But actually, the story is you can change as a human being. So if you say he was in the beginning bad,
I don't say bad.
No, but
he was not so nice. You can change as a new, and that's maybe the thing.
Yeah.
So if you reflect and think about yourself, you can change.
Sure.
And
Sure.
I mean, maybe that's what you meant.
I saw a very nice thing last week about at the end of the Parashat Miketz.
Mhm.
It says when they go over again and they go over to the story when they started to get into trouble with Yosef, that they know it was Yosef. So the brothers tell one to each other, you know what happened to us? Because we didn't listen to our brother when he was begging us
Yeah.
that night. But the Parasha says that we didn't listen to our brother when he was begging to us. It's the first time that the parasha is telling us that he was begging. When the story happens in Parashat Vayeshev, it doesn't say anything about Yosef begging his brothers,
No.
get me out of the pit, or don't put me here, or how are you doing it to me? Where is your mercy? It doesn't say anything. The Torah doesn't say anything about it. So the reason that I saw over there was that Yosef HaTzadik was one of the guys that was, he was a tough guy, huh? In a way, he was a tough guy and a believer that everything is from Hashem. So put him down the pit, okay, I believe from Hashem that everything should be that way. But then we see that this guy that doesn't know how to cry, okay, as like I say, he's a man who doesn't cry, he's the biggest bachyan. How do you say bachyan? How do you say a crying person? How do you say that in English? Someone that cries a lot. There's a word for it in English?
Huilenbalk in Dutch.
Howlebalak?
In Dutch.
Huilenbalk.
Huilenbalk. In
Yosef
Dutch.
HaTzadik 8 times the Torah telling us about Yosef that he's the most crying person in the Tanakh. He's crying. He's crying when he sees his father. He's crying when they ask him about his father. He's crying when he sees Binyamin. He's crying. He's always crying. What happened to you? Why didn't you cry that night? Hmm? He's emotional, but he wasn't emotional when they put him down in jail.
His father had a big part in this history because he put him higher than his brother.
That's all good. But why didn't he cry when they put him in the pit? Why didn't he cry when he was sent to jail? Why the Torah is not emphasizing that he was crying?
Thing will happen.
So he didn't cry. He didn't cry. All of a sudden he cries when he's 22 years later. He's like a top. He's crying for all those years that he didn't cry. So the actual thing is, sure he cried, but he cried silently. He cried When does a person when does a person cry? When he sees that there's no way out of it, he cries. When he has nothing else to do, so his emotions, he breaks. Have no way out of it, so he cries. But until you have what to do, you could do something to prevent the bad thing to happen. So don't cry. Do. So the whole time he was crying, he was not crying. He was crying, of course, into his pillow at night. He was crying, but just because he was hurt. Okay, he cried, but he knew that he has an action. He had a shlichut. He had a mission to do. So that's why he didn't cry. The Torah doesn't emphasize. But when he cries later, he's crying. He's crying already in a position that he can allow himself to cry. And something very nice. He was crying on the shoulders of a Binyamin. Why was he crying on the shoulders of Binyamin? He was crying on the shoulders of Binyamin, and Binyamin was crying on his. So Rashi says, because he saw that in Binyamin there's going to be 2 Bet Mikdash that are going to be destroyed. So he was crying for that. And Yosef was crying for his Mishkan Shiloh that is going to be destroyed. Basically, he was crying for the other one. Why was crying for the other one?
Yeah.
So it says when a person he didn't cry for himself, because for himself he could make an action. For himself, do something about it. If you see that it's going to happen, it's going to be a destruction of Bet HaMikdash, try to work on it that should not happen. But for someone else, you can't do anything, only empathy. Just be sympathetic, listen to empathy, listen to what the person has to say, and there's nothing that you could change for someone else. You could try to help him, but it's all he could do it. You cannot do it. So for someone else, you cry, but for yourself, if you have what to do, do. And that was Yaakov. That was Yosef. He had what to do. He had a shlichut. He had a mission. He continued. But if you go back to the story over here, so we say the Zohar explains. The Zohar says that basically everything is from Hashem. Right? If someone did something bad to you, you have to understand that it's if someone did something bad, it's not from him. He didn't do the bad thing. It comes from Hashem. He was only the shaliach in this moment to do, but everything is going to be good out of that. Okay?
At the end.
At the end.
Yeah,
The Baal HaTanya brings in the Sefer HaTanya. He says the sentence about Hamoach Shalit al Alev. A person has to have his brain over his feelings, over his heart. And when the Alter Rebbe brings the story at the end, this sentence at the end of chapter 12 in the Tanya, the story behind it is about 2 people from the community that were business people. They were doing business together and they were partners. And one day they got the belasting of someone on top of them, and they found some issues in the business. And one of the partners went over to the belasting and said, he did the issues. He gave us. He was the guy. He was the bad guy. And that person was sent into jail. So this Jewish guy caused his partner to go into jail. He went into jail. When he came out of jail, he was looking around. His partner is not around. So I asked him, where's that guy? So he says, he's in jail. He was caught for something else, and he was put into jail. He went over to the house of his wife, and he asked her how's she doing, if she needs help. And she was not doing well. The husband was not around. Financial wise was very, very bad. And he supported her because the husband was in jail. When the Alter Rebbe heard that story, he said, this is what we speak about moach shalit al alev. When your brain takes over your heart. A person always has to be, it's very hard to be with his brain over his heart, because what motivates us many times, it's our heart, our feelings. And our feelings could be very twisted feelings. But if you go by your brain over your heart, so if someone is in need, right, he did something bad to me, but if you know that he couldn't do anything bad to you, the whole reason why he was sitting in jail, because Hashem wanted him to sit in jail for any reason it was. By Yosef HaTzadik, we saw the reason why he was in jail, because he had the dreams of the 2 ministers over there. So he knows that there's a reason why you do everything. So he is not a bad guy, but you really have to be in a very high position, in a very high emuna or situation, that you could understand that and actually act the opposite. By even going and helping now the wife of that guy that put you into jail, you're helping her financially in order that she be able to continue in life. Why? Because you're really putting yourself in a way much higher. And that's the madriga that Yosef was. Yosef was in a madriga that he knew that his brother did something wrong. For sure, he knew that they did something that hurt him. But at the end of the day, he knew that was for good. And if that was for good, so it's not only that he doesn't punish them, but he supports them, like this lady. So the Alter Rebbe says, "Hamoach shalitu moshel beruach shebelibo la'asot ha'hefech mamash." the brain is able to go over the heart, that the action will be the opposite from what he needs to do. And that was a story that he went to support this lady that her husband was very nasty to him. להתנהג עם חברו במידת חסד וחיבה יתרה מודעת לו. That he should be very friendly and kindly to a friend. ואדרבה, לגמול לחייבים טובות, כמו שכתב בזוהר, ללמוד מיוסף עם אחיו. לגמול לחייבים טובות, לגמול לחייבים, whoever we say in ברכת הגומל. What do we say in ברכת הגומל? הגומל לחייבים טובות. What is גומל לחייבים טובות? Yes, because we are chayavim. Maybe we're not supposed to get all this goodness, but you still give us goodness. You know, sometimes you have with a belasting, you have to pay something back. So they tell you, you know what? Pay us back, but we'll give you the money we need to get back for the belasting. And whenever you have to pay us back, you could do settlements or something. You could say, maybe, just pay it all. No, you owe us money. It's okay. Owe us, but you could still get whatever you need to get. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving us sometimes money, so he gives you money, gives you goodness, gives you health, even though maybe we're not supposed to get that. But Hashem is giving it to us, He's putting aside what is not good, and is giving you what you need to get. And that is when the brain is over the heart. And the reason over here is because everything is Me'et Hashem, as we said, and everything, whatever, Kol David Rachmana letav Avid, therefore we should only see goodness in another person, a Jew, only doing good things to another person. You wanted to say something? Sorry.
Something happened with you was very terrible for you and your surrounding. It's nearly impossible to have an
Explanation.
to have an opposite idea or feeling.
You're absolutely right. That's why when someone comes and says, when the Second World War happened, that now we have more Torah, I heard that the Rebbe always used to say that no one could explain about the Holocaust, or never thinks that he could explain. There's no explanation. There's nothing that we could come to the Borei Olam and said, thank you for doing. No, it's a hard thing that happened. What the outcome from it was, it's Kodesh Baruch Hu. We don't go into his decision. Was it a good thing?
Exactly.
We don't go into that. In such a thing.
Actually, we can't never talk about cause and effect in these kind of things, because you can connect things and make a nice motion out of it.
Yeah.
But actually, you can't.
No.
No, that's actually what the conclusion of everything, because we don't know.
Exactly, because you see only one pixel. You see one pixel of the thing. You don't see the whole picture.
People themselves that they try to hear, but that's all it is.
It's all emunah.
It's all emunah.
Someone who had a very hard
Yeah,
time.
you can't explain it.
It's true, but on the other hand, if someone that has emunah,
Yeah.
is much easier
Yeah.
to live with situation that he does not understand. If it's all about the understanding, so I don't understand, and you're always going to be grumpy and you're going to be miserable because you don't understand. But if you understand that you don't understand everything, you don't understand it all. I heard a story. I think it's the Chafetz Chaim. I'm not sure which rabbi it was, but
There is a difference.
There's a difference.
There's a difference between trying to understand Kodesh Baruch Hu and trying to understand your people around you.
Yeah.
Because the understanding for your people is different than understanding Kodesh Baruch Hu.
But if you know that the people around you cannot harm you,
No.
they're coming from the Kodesh Baruch Hu also.
We are acting human with humans.
Yeah.
We are not acting always human with Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's more than that.
Yeah.
So that's maybe the difference in explaining things.
It is. So there is a situation where you're human, and then you look at it from he did it to me, he caused me bad. But then you could put yourself, but then you could put yourself in a higher place and say, listen, I only seeing this pixel from the picture, but there's a much bigger picture. So let's try to go higher. And sometimes when you have a drone, you say helicopter, now I have a drone. You go up with a drone, you see everything differently,
Yeah.
Now you can see only whatever you're seeing, now in wars or whatever, now they use it. It's effective, it's amazing. When you stand there, you can't see much. You see one point, you go higher, all of a sudden you see a much bigger picture.
That's why I say, you said, after all we are human.
After we are human.
Start to be human.
We start a human and then we could go up. That is true. When a person is born, he's not looking for a Gemara and is not looking for a Musar book. He's looking for food. Because when we are born,
Very human.
we are human. But the whole point of us as human is not to just stay there, because eating is animals. An animal, we're the same thing. We're like an animal when we eat, when we drink, when we walk. We walk on two, we don't walk on four, but still we are like animals. And what we're different are that we should work on our manners, that we should become on top of it. So when someone hurts you, that's a human thing to be hurt. But if you think he is not able to do anything bad to me, so that you're going higher in a spiritual place, and they say, okay, he cannot do anything bad to me. He's not a bad person. He's protecting himself. That's why he did something that it looks to me bad, but he's protecting himself, and I'm sorry for him. But I'm not holding anything against him, because it's his issue. It's not my issue. And the opposite is that I could actually be nice to him, because maybe then he's going to feel better. So that's really putting yourself in a higher place, and that's what Yosef HaTzadik did.
So actually, the educators of children or giving lesson should be fulfilled with this kind of
Sure.
goal to explain to people. And my experience was that Jewish education, they don't go for this, trying to find that level
To go higher,
stay human.
stay human. I think it's more it's more psychologically. It's a very psychological situation. Tell a child, it's not against it. It's trying to protect his position. You see the picture in a different way. It's not about it's not about you. It's not about yourself. It's against me. It's not against you. No one is against you. He's for himself. So for now, you were the one that to teach it over for kids. Absolutely. If we continue in Bereshit, we see number 2. ויראו אחרי יוסף כי מת אביהם, ואמרו לו, יסתמנו יוסף וישב ישיב לנו את כל הרע אשר גמל לנו איתו. The brothers saw that the father died, Yaakov died. They went to Eretz Israel to bury him. ויצב אל יוסף לאמור, אביך ציווה לפני מותו לאמור. They went over to the brothers and they told the brothers, listen, your father, before he died, he actually told us, כה תאמרו ליוסף, אנא שנא פשע אחיך וחטאתם כי רעה גמלוך, ואתה שנא לפשע עבדי אלוקי אביך. Okay, it says, before your father died, you were not there, but he told us, tell Yosef that he should forgive you for what you did from what they did to you.
And it's not true.
It's not true. Yosef, Yaakov Avinu didn't know.
Yeah.
He didn't know until he died that his father that what the brothers did to Yosef, and he goes so far that they say when Yaakov was very sick, they sent to Yosef to tell Avicha chole, your father is very sick. What do you mean his father is very sick? He standing next to his father's bed the whole time and making sure that his father feels well? What do you mean he's sent over? What is it is a stranger that he sent over to call that your father is very sick? For sure he knew that his father is sick. Yosef HaTzadik, he says in the Mefarshim, he didn't want to be with his father in an intimate situation of 4 eyes. Because he knew that if it will be only him in the room, his father will ask him,
what happened?
My son, what happened that night? What happened that night that you disappeared from me? And then Yosef will have to give answers. So he never was with his father alone in the room. He made sure not to be. But why did the brothers were afraid? What happened? So the Torah is telling us that for that moment that Yaakov died, Yosef stopped eating with them. He didn't eat together with them. The whole time he was sitting with them. And then Yosef went back to eat in his house and they were eating together. So they thought that he has something against them. The father died. So when the father was around, they was trying to do peace. They're trying to be in shalom. But now that the father died, here, it's coming back to us. Now we're going to get it. But it's fakir. It was the opposite way. Yosef, when his father was there, he was sitting next to his father. But now that his father is not there, he's one of the youngest. Reuven, Yehuda is going to be the king. Who am I to sit in the top? And he couldn't sit below because he's a number 2 in Mitzrayim. So in order to get out of that story, he went aside. So sometimes situations in life, you make the explanation. He did so because no, the opposite is right. He didn't want to get into a position with his brother that he's on top of his brothers. So he went aside. And this is the many times the explanations. Of how we look at things, and we're missing some information, and all of a sudden you get the information, and the whole story changes. There's a story about someone from the war that someone came into a shul a few years after the war, and he went into a shul. I don't remember what it was. Huh?
Because in the war it was not.
The shul, exactly. He was there. He was after the war. He went into a shul, and he saw someone by the chazan, and he could hardly talk. The chazan. He was not saying normal words. So I was like, what's going on with you? I can't daven like this. I can't. What kind of a community that they're putting such a chazan by the Omer that you can't actually. And he was really getting angry, and he stopped davening. He stopped. He went aside. He said, "I'll daven later." And then when they took out the Sefer Torah, he looked and he sees a choshev person, the guy with he looks like a normal guy, but the way he was speaking was not normal. So he asked later, "What's the story of this chazan?" He said, "You don't know what this chazan is? Before the war, he was the biggest chazan. The Germans took away his tongue. He didn't have a tongue.
It changes.
He changed also. It's like, how dare was I to think about this person, such a thing? He was missing the information, so the interpretation that he gave was very, very bad. And he got angry, and he got so many times in life, we don't understand something, and we get angry, but maybe the person in front of you doesn't have any bad intentions. He has actually good intentions, but you, from where you're looking at it, from your education point of view, that's what you see, but it's not actually the truth. So again, we go into the same mode that if you put yourself aside and you put the Kodesh Baruch Hu there, you prevent a lot of those kind of things. If you know Hashem brought me to this situation, maybe there's something that I don't understand. I don't know the whole picture. And then you're able to forgive, then you're able to understand better, then you don't emphasize the bad things, but you'll emphasize the good things in life. That is kind of thing. So that's what he said over here. Why did the brothers thought?
Two dimensions. Sorry. Don't separate yourself from the community, because actually he was also insulting the community, because they accepted the chazan. So there must be a reason for it. He could have thought, well, I ask later what's going on. And the second thing is, can you take your own minhag to a shul and say, I separate myself from the shul because I have my minhag and this shul is different? I'm not asking you questions, but
no, a minhag, you're not. If the minhag in the shul is that you have to go by the minhag, minhag amokum. You have the minhag.
You learn from this also.
Yeah, you have a minhag in the place and the minhag, and don't put yourself out.
Exactly.
Yeah. But again, this thing, you could look at it from many, many angles about situations that you're in life, how you interpret, how you explain those things. And then when you see that there are more information that you're missing, all of a sudden you see that the story is different. And so it's all about your ego, yourself, that you didn't understand. Okay, I don't understand it all. Come from that starting point that I don't understand all, and then you'll get better. Rabbeinu Bachayai, he came and says different explanation. But the Zohar was all beautiful. Everything is good. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu does it all, and he went in that way. Rabbeinu Bachayai says, "V'hine echav bikshu imenu mechila, v'lo b'yera katuv shemachal." And he says that the brothers did ask for mechila, and they didn't. He never. It doesn't say that he forgave them. By the way, forgive nanasho mechila is the right word. We have mechila and slicha. In Yom Kippur, we say mechila, slicha, v'kapara. What's the difference between mechila and slicha and kapara? What's the difference? Mechila is to take away the punishment. Mochol al kol avonoteinu. It takes away the punishment of the thing. Basically, you won't get a punishment, but maybe you won't get a punishment, but I'm still hurt. I mean, and that is slicha. Slicha is when you forgive. Exactly. Okay? Yeah, so you have slicha, mechila, and kapara. Slicha is forgive. Forgive also about the punishment. And this kapara is to lechaper al ze. Lechaper is it's another level. kapara. So over here, לא ראינו, סד רבינו בחיי, לא ראינו שיזכיר הכתוב מחילה ביוסף, ולא שיודע להם שיישא פשעם וחטאתם. We don't see over here that they actually spoke about it at all, about what they did to them, and forgiving or not forgiving. ואם כן, מתו בעונשם בלא מחילת יוסף, therefore they died without the מחילה of יוסף. He never forgive them. ואי אפשר להתכפר עוונם רק במחילתו. A person has to say, אני מוחל, I forgive you for what you did.
Why?
He didn't say. We don't find anywhere that Yosef says that he was mochel to his brothers. ועל כן, says רבינו בחיי, הוצרך העונש להיות kamus v'chatum, the punishment that was not given to the brothers, was waiting to come down to the world, and it came down to Aseret Harogei Malchut. It came down to the 10 surges that we had. Aseret Harogei Malchut, the Asara Chachamim, that 1500 years later they were punished for that thing that the brothers were not punished. Yeah, that was very, very. It's very heavy to think about it. But we don't find anywhere that asks for mechila. There's a story in the Gemara in Masechet Yoma, Daf Pei Zayin. It brings down Mesupar al Katzav. There was a butcher. There was a slacharai. How does
Slagerij.
a slacharai is the person?
No, that's slager.
How does the slacher is a person who was a slacher that hurt very, very much a big rabbi. His name was Rav. We know Rav. He was an Amora in Bavel. His name was Rav. And Rav Machal, he said he embarrassed me or whatever. He did something bad to that person, that slacher, and he forgave him. But it's not enough to forgive. The person has to ask for forgiveness. That you forgive, it's one thing, but the person that did something bad, before Yom Kippur, we say that Yom Kippur mechaper al avonot sheben adam lamakom, whatever you did k'lapei Kadosh Baruch Hu. But ben adam lechavero, you have to ask.
Yes.
You have to ask. So he forgave him from his side, but the person that did the bad thing, he needs to come and ask for forgiveness. And the story goes that he didn't come to him, and it was Erev Yom Kippur, and he wanted that guy to be clean. So he went over to the slacharai, and he looked at him, and the rabbi and that guy told him, "I have no time for you. Go over, get out of here." And he was hitting a head of an animal at the same moment. He was doing something with the thing, and a bone came out and bashed him on his head, and he fell dead. That person fell. That's what the Gemara says. הגיע יום הכיפורים והקצב לא בא לבקש מחילה. החליט רב ללכת לעמוד לפניו כדי לתת לו הזדמנות לבקש סליחה. רב נכנס לאטליז, לסלחראי, והקצב שהיה עסוק לבקע ראש של בהמה, אמר לו בזלזול, לך מכאן, get out of here, get out of here. He didn't, I have nothing to do with you, אין לי עסק איתך. והמשיך להתעסק עם הבהמה. פתאום נתזע עצם מראש הבהמה אל גרונו של הקצב והרגע אותו, went over to his throat and killed him. The bone went and it was very, very sharp and killed that person. So we see that the thing of mechila, to ask for mechila from someone, it's something that you should do, something the person should do, and we don't find that the brothers ask mechila. We don't feel anything. So the question is, do we go by the outcome of the story, or we go by the intention? If you go by the outcome, they didn't do anything bad, the brothers. Why do you have to ask mechila? They did whatever. He had his dreams to become someone that they all bowed down to him. In order to get there, they needed to do their action. Everyone did his part in the puzzle. So, do we go by the end, or we go by the attention? If you go by the outcome, they're all good. Everybody's okay. Nothing happened over here. Yeah, we did something bad. It's not us. It's Kodesh Baruch Hu. Ask him for forgiveness. But if you go by the action, they did something very, very wrong. The brothers with all, it's like that Arab that stabbed that Daniel Cohen. You can't say that he did a good thing, right? Hashem turned it around that it should be good, but for him it wasn't a good thing. The Orach Chaim says, הרי זה דומה לי מתכוון להשקות חברו כוס מוות והשקעו כוס יין שאינו מתחייב כלום והרי הם פטורים וזכאים בדיני שמיים. What happens if a person had an intention to have poison in a cup? He had poison.
Yes.
And for some reason, the poison was taken away and he had a cup of wine. And the person drank a cup of wine.
With the poison.
Without the poison.
Without the poison.
No.
Okay.
What happens? Do you go by the outcome? But he had intention. So by law, if someone goes over to someone and has a gun, and he points it over and he shoots, but there was no bullet inside because something happened and it was rusty and the bullet didn't come out. Is he clean? No. By law, is not clean. No, he had an intention to kill. He didn't, but the attention was there.
Yes.
So you don't go by the outcome because the outcome is not interesting over here, but you go by the dangerous of that person. That person is a dangerous person. He had an intention to kill, so you can't let him out because maybe tomorrow you have another intention like that to kill someone, and it's going to work. So you can't go by the outcome.
If you see that the testers kill all the Jews and they don't kill it, it's exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Intention there, but
Zo'n
they don't
oriëntation.
do it.
And he brings down a story.
Same thing.
In 1894, the Tsar Alexander had a new law in Russia that all the alcohol should be sold by the country and not by personal, not private, but has to be under the government. All the alcohol, and many Jews had small pubs, bet marzech it's called in Hebrew, and they had small things, and people used to come and in the evening to drink some whiskey, some wine, some whatever they had, some vodka, yeah, to heat up in the winter. And there was a guy that still had some barrels downstairs, and he was selling it quietly under the radar. And one day he had a Jew, a friend, that he was in a bad attack, and he came over to his place and he broke the top of that barrel, and all the wine spilled out, and he lost a lot of money because of it. But that night, they came from the police because they heard that this guy had some alcohol downstairs, and there was no alcohol. They didn't find anything. It was broken. Didn't find anything. That guy innocent, or that guy was whatever he did was the right thing to do, or not a good? What he did? Could you now tell him you have to pay the money of the wine that he spilled, or listen, thanks to my action, I solved his life. So again, do you go by the action? He was planning to save his life. No, he wanted to harm him. He wanted to cause him bad. So what happens over here? So they went to one rabbi, and the rabbi said, "Listen, he saved his life. You have to forgive him."
I give you an example that happened here with me around the corner. I went to a shop, and there was an Arab there, and we went into a nice discussion. But suddenly he said not nice things. He said, "Actually, you were a coward, because what you said, you have to kill me." Said to the bystanders, "He doesn't kill me. He is a coward because he should kill me. He doesn't do it." So his intention was to kill him. I asked him to kill me, and he didn't do it. So he was really degraded by the audience because he didn't do it. He was talking big things. So that's the question: should you go against it and ask for it or not? If you are in this position. So he didn't feel easy. Of course, I wasn't killed, but I challenged him for it. It was a nice thing.
They say
I say hello to him now. I said, "Well, I was in a good mood, and actually, you should just excuse yourself." I said, "Okay, I will excuse myself because, of course, I didn't have my intention." I said, "Why did you say it?"
Is you say about the briskers, the brisker, the very very frum, yeah. So I said that one time someone came over to a brisker and told him, "I'm going to kill you because you're Jewish." He said, "1 second." It says, "Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam." He was saying, it says a bracha thing. So the guy saw it, and he said, "Wow, this guy's a crazy guy." So he left. I said, "No, but I just said the bracha. You should kill,
I didn't say the bracha.
It's a bracha levatala. So the question is that guy with the thing, should you? So one big rabbi in Vilna, his name was Reb Chaim Seglovich. He says he brought it from the Gemara and from the Rambam, that he explained it in a way that we're going to see it inside on Rambam in Shabbat. What happens if there was a person, a dayag, a fisherman? He was standing next to the water on Shabbat, and he threw his net on Shabbat. It's brought down in halacha. He puts down the net, and he picks it up, and there's a baby inside, and he saved the baby. Is he chayav or patur on dinei Shabbat? He took other fish also, right? So is he chayav on patur or dinei Shabbat or not? So say he's patur. He saved the life, but he hadn't had any intention of saving the life. But the action was, he went to fish. He then was to fish, so the fish are not allowed to do on Shabbat. But you saved the person. So the Rambam says, "Nitkaven la'alot dagim ve'ela dagim ve'tinok." What happens if a person had an intention to bring up to fish fishes, to fish fish? Ve'ela dagim ve'tinok. What happens if there was a baby there and he saved the baby? The baby was in the water and he didn't know, but he saved him. Patur. He's patur. Ve'afilu im lo shama shetava. Even if he didn't hear that the baby was in the water, he just had some luck and he put down the net and he saved the baby, even though he didn't know. Ho'il ve'ela tinok im adagim. Because the baby came together with the fish, So he saved the baby, and therefore he didn't do anything that is wrong because he saved the baby. Because if he knew the baby was there and he was not a fisherman, but he said, hey, yeah, you have a net, let's try to pick up the baby, he's allowed to do that on Shabbat. So basically he did it, but his intention was not that. But the Rambam says, because he saved the baby, we're patur.
More important.
That's true, but he had no intention. So, but still, he gets a reward. He's patur. A different Rav in Vilna said, his name was Shlomo HaKohen. He said, no, you can't compare it to the Rambam. So basically, he was comparing the guy that broke the barrel to the Rambam. He broke the thing, and now they came from the police, they came from the government to see, and thanks to you breaking it, he didn't get into issue. So it's like, it's like putting down a net, and he said you can't compare it to that. That is not right. You can't compare it. But he says when the person picked up the baby and the fish, so basically you saved the baby. It's not only that the outcome was that you saved the baby, but even putting down the net was the saving the baby. Because it's not only the outcome. If you didn't put the net, the outcome wouldn't be. So by putting the net, it was already a good act. It's not that the outcome was good. The net was the good act. By him breaking the barrel, it was not a good act. The outcome was good. So you can't compare it to the baby. That's what the Rabbi Shlomo HaKohen said.
Jews are complicated.
Jews are very complicated, absolutely. Yeah. That. וחשק שלמה יסד מה שהביא רעה מהד דפורש מצודה לעלות דגים ואלה תינוק ודגים דקיים עלה כרבי דפטור ושוב דאזלינן בטר מעשה ולא בטר כוונתו. We don't go by we go by the action and not by the meaning. הדבר שונה משום שבאותה מלאכה של צידה הייתה הצלת נפש. In the same action of putting down the net, you saved the baby, but over here you broke it, and then the outcome came. אבל אם היה יודע שאלה דגים בתחילה, אחר כך נפל שם התינוק, גם לרבה חייב שריגה מחשבה וגם מעשה היו באיסור. He says, but if the person had a net, and then the baby fell inside, then גם המחשבה וגם המעשה היה באיסור. He says, the מחשבה, the meaning, and the action was in איסור. If you didn't know there was a baby, he says, if the baby came later, if you put a net after the baby was there, you didn't know there was a baby, but you saved the baby, you patur. But if you put down the net, and the baby came after that, so you had an attention for fish. Never mind. Yeah, I mean, that was the fish. There was nothing to do with the baby. The baby came later. You can't say that action was saving the baby, because the net was already there, and you just picked it up.
But at the end, it's not a difference.
There's no difference. But the first time, by you sending down the net, saved the baby. Over here, the net was there already. So, right, it saved the baby, but you had an attention only for fish. When you put down the net and you had the baby and the fish together without knowing, that he says it's something that you saved him from that thing. So as we said, we have a level in life that we are looking at the person in our eye level. He did something bad. I have to give him back. I'm insulted. I have to insult him back, right? That is something very human, as we said. But then there's the level that he should look upwards. Yosef Avinu suffered so much, but he didn't look at his brothers in an eye level. He said, no, he's higher than that. There's a mission. There's a reason why I had to go through this whole thing, and I had to come to Egypt to become the number 2 in Mitzrayim, and it wouldn't happen without my brothers acting the way they did. So everything is letovah, even though they didn't do it letovah, but the outcome was letovah. So that's the difference between the Zohar and Rabbeinu Bechaya. Rabbeinu Bechaya looked at it in an emotion, in a personal level, eye to eye, and the Zohar, a little bit more mystical, he looks at it from a higher level of how should we look on situations in life. There's a story, interesting story about people in New York. In New York, it's very, very hard to find parking. Some places in New York, it's impossible to find parking. Heard some of this, a famous joke.
Not only in New York.
Not only in New York, but New York City is a very busy place. So parking in New York could be very hard.
Yeah.
I know in the time there's the convention of Chabad in November in New York. Some people take out a car. I never take out a car at that time in New York because you could spin your car for an hour to find parking. I'm like, forget about it. Take an Uber. It's much easier. But there's a joke about a person that comes to a bank in Manhattan and asks them for a loan of they asked for a loan for I don't know what it was, $1 million loan. So
Lening.
excuse me?
Just a-
Keine Ahnung. $1 million. Says, okay, how much will I need it for a week. Okay. And how much will be the rent? How much do I pay over? It was I don't know, it was a few hundred euros. I don't know how much was exactly the amount. And he said, okay, no problem. I said, listen, what could you bring as a
Underpand.
yeah, underpand? So no, as a borach, his car. So he gave a beautiful Maybach or something, a nice car. And they took the car and said, okay, after a week he comes back, he pays the loan. I said, listen, we checked this week. We checked about it. I mean, you're a multimillionaire. Why do you need it? He said, listen, I never found such a cheap parking spot in Manhattan. Like, you know, that's a famous joke. So this family, this person, his name was Ari something. The story was, his name is Ari, I think was his name is. And he was looking for a place in New York to park. There was an Ocean Parkway. Everyone knows that area in Brooklyn. There's a Chinese restaurant over there. I used to go there a lot with my had an employee in New York. We used to go out together every Thursday. That was the end of the week. You get a plate, you pay, and eat as much as you want. It's a crazy restaurant. Anyways, this restaurant over there was a guy, and he was Vader, tuurlijk.
Niet zo'n probleem.
So he comes into the parking lot, to the parking area, and he sees people are talking. Car is standing, waiting for parking, but it's talking to someone. It was talking, and he saw a spot. So he saw that then continued talking. So he took over and he parked in that location, and he sat in the restaurant. And after a few minutes, that couple that was sitting in the car and speaking, they came over to him. What did you do? Why did you take your parking? We were standing before you. And no, they was really giving it to him. She was giving it to him badly. This lady was named as Nancy. She was giving it to him very badly. And he says, listen, I saw you were talking. You're not in attention of parking. I'm sorry, I didn't do it on purpose. That normally people are waiting for parking. The first car will go out, they'll go. I didn't do anything in she was came before Yom Kippur. And that Harry, he remembered that story. He was thinking over what had happened that year. And he called up Nancy, and he says, I found your number.
During Yom Kippur?
He says, Nancy, you remember that what happened? I remember that it got you really angry, and I want to ask sorry for that. I want to apologize for that I caused you to feel so bad. He says, wow, I'm sorry for the way I reacted, was overreaction, and it was and it was all good. So after a few years, the Ashadchan called up Nancy and said, listen, I have a boy. That is the last name. Yeah, his father is Ari. I said, I want that family. Because if every Yom Kippur, he remembered to call me, they have good midot, they have good manners. If you call me, and the shidduch came out of it. So it was a bad thing that happened. He took a parking, she got angry, she screamed, but at the end of the day, a good shidduch came out of it. So stuff and laugh could happen in a ways that we don't understand, but at the end of the day, we see that good things could happen also from things like that. It says, Amor Azal, Kol HaKoes Ki'ilu Oved Avodah Zarah. If a person is angry, it's as if is working, Avodah Zarah. Idle, idle. Yeah. Ve'ata muvan leodei bina. Why is it? Why if someone is angry as if it's Oved Avodah Zarah? How do we get to Avodah Zarah if someone is angry? Because why are you angry? If you know that everything is from Hashem, so also now you should believe in Hashem. But because you're giving another place for another place to be angry, that means you don't believe in Hashem. So it's ki'ilu yoved avodah zarah. If someone is able to get angry about something, so it's as if he's oved avodah zarah because there's something else besides Hashem in the world, and that's why you're angry. When he's angry, it's number 4 inside. When you're angry, it came out, the emunah came out. If he would have believed that everything is from Hashem, he wouldn't be angry at all. Even though that someone else that has a free will, has a free will choice. He could choose whatever he wants. And another person was hitting him, or he was cursing him out. So even though B'dinei Adam is mitchayev, someone hit someone else, he goes to the judge. He'll have to pay. If he did something wrong to a person, he'll have to pay. Why does he have to pay? Everything is Met Hashem, because B'dinei Adam, between us, that's the law. He has to pay for it. But inner, we should know that it's all Met Hashem. בדיני שמיים על רוע בחירתו, אף על פי כן, על הניזק כבר נגזר מן השמיים והרבה שלוחים למקום. On that person, there was already a decree from heaven that thing should happen to him. And there's a lot of shluchim, there's a lot of ways that Hashem could send the bad thing to come to that person. So Nebuch, the person that was chosen to be the bad guy to do something bad to you, but it's actually all from Hashem. We see it.
Someone, how do you do? And he said, Baruch Hashem. I said, I ask you, how do you do? Don't say it's Hashem's will.
But it is. It's Baruch Hashem.
Ask someone, it's not an answer.
He said, Baruch Hashem, good.
Dat is soms
Thanks to Hashem, good.
You cannot put Baruch Hashem, not good.
Uh,
It's still the same.
But if you tell Hashem Baruch Hashem not good, Hashem is good. That is not good. Wait, I will show you what is not good. And if you say Baruch Hashem good, it says this is good. I will show you what is good.
You make a bracha on both.
You make a bracha atov v'amitiv, but you thank Hashem for it.
Yeah.
You say make a bracha. Where do we find this thing about a person that we know that everything is from Hashem? You see this story with David and Avshalom. David HaMelech, he has a very bad war with his son. And when he leaves town, someone comes and curses him out and throws something, right? You know the story? והנה עמך שמעי בן גרה בן הימיני, מבחורים, והוא כללני כללה מרצת. שמעי בן גרה, he came out and he cursed דוד המלך. וישבע לו בהשם לאמור, אם עמיתך בחרב אתה, אל תנקהו כאיש חכמה אתה. כאיש חכם אתה. When the story starts, David HaMelech, he runs away. And someone wanted to kill Shimi ben Gera. He says, don't. It's all Hashem. It's all from Hashem. But at the end, it tells this someone that was in charge of the Milchama, it tells them, at the end of the things, it tells them, make sure that he gets killed. Because everything is Me'at Hashem, but in that level, is Me'at Hashem. How does it say over here? מכאן שיש פער מדוד האדם לדוד המלך, there's a gap between David HaMelech to David as a human. David as a melech, he says, everything is Me'at Hashem. I know in that level that he was, everything Me'at Hashem. But from human, when he went down to human, if you could say, the situation, he says, yeah, make sure that he gets killed. Don't kill him, but make sure, send him to the front of the war so that he gets killed. Therefore, we see that guy that harmed the Jew at the bus stop, sure that you say everything is Me'at Hashem, but at the end of the day, he needs to get his punishment because he did it on a human thing.
What's the lower kind of thing?
The lower punishment?
Can I ask you something? Thank you so much. It was very interesting. If you have disagreement you have a friends, okay, and your friend think that you done or said something wrong, but you didn't. You know that you didn't done nothing wrong, but the third person did something wrong, okay? But your friend of you is very angry to you, and you're trying to change a situation. You're trying to explain yourself, and you cannot do it. So it's very hard to accept this and think, oh, everything is in the hand of Hashem. You're trying to explain yourself. You're trying to explain situation, and your friend don't hear you. So what do you have to do?
You do as much as you could. Uh-huh. You do as much as you could, and the rest you should pray for your friend that he should listen. You do as much as you could. If he doesn't listen, he has an issue. Like we saw the story about this guy that forgave that slacher, but the slacher was not interested. Hashem took his Hashem did whatever is needed to be done. But you should try as much as you could. Whatever you can't. What can you do?
Also to help your friend to come to goodness, and to understand. Okay, you try to actually to change not only situation, but to help your friend to understand that he or she is wrong.
If you're trying to tell him that he's wrong, I don't think he's going to listen. It's going to be a lot of empathy that you have to give, and it's going to take some time for the situation to be solved.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
you.
הצלחה,
Oh, yes.
בשורות טובות.
I hope that you'll be able to come in the future. Bezat Hashem. I don't ask you now. But
Bezat Hashem. Goed. Fijne dag.
Okay.
Same to you.
Same to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.